Hi guys! I'm currently fighting every urge to just drink coffee and eat banana bread and watch the greatest British baking show. But you can't fight all your urges at once. If I've learned anything, it's about moderation. You go one step at a time. Okay, let's talk about today's video. First, let's lay the groundwork of the hopes and dreams Maverick and I currently have and why that was the jumping off point for this video. Hope and dream number one, move to another city. So whether we rent or buy, which we are praying for a miracle on the buying front, what we are not so sure of is whether or not we'll find a place with a move-in ready workshop or if we will have to save up and build that over time. So with that being a key piece of information in preparing for this move, I realized that I have a shed full of pieces that were either given to me or I picked up on Facebook Marketplace over the last 6 months that have not yet been flipped because it's just been too cold to work. You know, I figured I should probably get a move on and not have to move a whole bunch of extra furniture because that just sounds like more expensive. And it's one thing if you're moving a piece that you know you already really like and you want in your home, but it's a totally other thing to move a piece that like you were hoping to make a little bit of change off of and now it just kind of feels like an extra thing, but you know, people gotta help. And gas prices and moving truck prices. I just don't want to move all this stuff. And so yeah, there it is. I started with just one piece and then I got a little crazy. I was in the mood. I was thinking like, oh, I'll space this out over the next, you know, couple of months while we're still here. And then I got into it and I just got in the groove. And so one piece turned into 8 pieces and now I have this super long video for you guys. Without further ado, enjoy the video. Right now, you are looking at a table that we got for $17 at Goodwill. The question is really whether or not I can pull this to a point where I want to hold on to it. I think I can. I also think that it's not going to be as simple as just painting this one. I think I'm actually going to strip it, which I don't usually do, as you guys have seen. I like being able to just do a quick scuff sanding and then totally transform a piece by making it a totally different color or 2 colors or whatever. I think we're going to start by stripping it, specifically the top, and seeing what kind of wood we have underneath, because I am fairly certain that this is solid wood. It's just that it is pretty old and hasn't been taken care of very well. Little note, the last time that I tried to strip something was like 5 years ago, and I read the directions and I read that you need chemical resistant gloves. For whatever reason, I thought latex gloves will work just fine because that's all that I had at the time. And so that's what I put on and they literally started dissolving and I kind of couldn't feel the skin on my hands for the next couple hours, even though like I washed them repeatedly, like over and over. I was really freaked out that my skin was just gonna like burn off. But either way, it's important to be safe, so chemical resistant gloves, and they do make some specifically for use with stripping. Let's go strip. I don't mean to intimidate you with my mass sex appeal. It didn't do quite what I wanted it to do. Thus, I have reapplied. It says on the bottle that it can be left to work for up to 24 hours. So we are just going to wait until tomorrow. Oh my, what am I supposed to do here? Maybe I just go ahead and... The stripper didn't work worth crap. I'm sure I got the wrong one, but Maverick has some acetone on hand, so I'm going to glove up and hope for the best. Just a reminder that these videos are not instructional. You are literally just watching me figure it out as I go. Let's go. And update on this piece. It looks good, but it's still freaking not. Okay. She's looking good. Oh, it's just taking me so long to get here. we are definitely getting there.
When I got to a good enough point, I finally took the legs off and sanded them down for later when I would paint them, but I needed the top of the table to be separate so that I could easily move it around while I sanded down the edges and got every last bit of that varnish off, and this part took absolutely forever.
That took so freaking long, but it is nice and sanded down and ready to go. Gotta paint the back here, but we'll get to that in a minute. Right now, we've got these beautiful legs to paint. In the spirit of getting rid of as much paint as possible before we leave, I'm going to try and use an existing color.
The other reason I just had to use this blue was because I saw it in my friend's house in her dining room and I freaking loved it, so I had to try it.
I'm really excited. I think that is going to be so cute together.
Still, that didn't stop me from trying to get a third color in there, but I ran out of that clamshell. I tried this seafoam green, and then I eventually gave up and just went full blue, which I ended up loving. A lot of time when I finish a piece, I pretty quickly want to sell it, even if I like the way it turned out. But this one I absolutely adore, and I am totally keeping this one, and we will be moving with it, and it's not even a big deal.
Alright, here's another piece given to me that I think is just a really neat antique piece. I love these details down here. Really love the shape of the arms. What I don't love is these crystals, and it looks like they've seen better days anyway. Like this one is kind of held on by its second rung, and it was clearly not meant to be like that. And we've got a little candlestick thing here that's chipped. Okay, if you take the candlestick itself off, then you've got this light fixture. I'm not an electrician. I don't know about this stuff, but the point is, the whole thing has seen better days, but I feel like there is something in the structure here to be saved. What if I could just take it apart and have a really sick candelabra? Let's try that.
So this piece is pretty straightforward because it was really just deconstructing what I already had there. I did have a brief moment of deliberation when I couldn't decide if I actually wanted to take out the electric components because I thought, you know, it might be just as cool to have it as a lamp, but I couldn't think of how to pull that off and really like the way that it looked. So I ended up ultimately going all the way and taking it apart.
Straight up broken glass down here. Or not. You just want to keep some. Okay, so all that later, and this is what we are left with. Okay, everything is screwed in. So these things, some of them move, some of them don't. I don't think it's a huge deal. The hard thing is that I don't really have any taller candles right now. Like, look at this. How freaking cool is that? I'm gonna put it over by the fireplace.
Next, we have a pair of shallow floral vases that I am going to refinish with a coat of black paint.
Because black is chic.
Everything here is also extremely straightforward. I just cleaned them out and painted them. But oh my gosh, what a difference it made.
I just want to show you guys the difference between these two now. I feel like I could see that one, you know, in a store. Don't forget to turn these fellas over and give them another coat on the bottom. Alright, final move on these guys is to glossify them. Nice high gloss sealant. Lock it all in.
And just so you guys can see the difference here, the gloss really deepens the black and I think it looks really great. Let's add one more piece to the game, shall we? Why not? This one is a little magazine holder. I think I bought when I was like 17, and it used to say Paris all over it. It was very 2007. One day I got sick of it and started to paint it like all these funky colors, and then I was like, what am I doing? I don't have a plan. And so I just spray painted it this color, which is fine. But clearly it has chipped and stuff because not only did I not sand it, but I'm pretty sure I was like, yeah, I just didn't know what I was doing. Not that I am much better now. Let's go. So while I was doing that, I actually got an idea, because this has this little like framed sunken part here. And while I can absolutely just paint something there, and I still might, I thought about how I could possibly do like a textured kind of deal. So let me show you guys what I mean. This textured wallpaper from that piece that I added to the door. I definitely lost the directions though, so I might have to wing it. And I know this actually looks super cute on camera, the white and dark, and it kind of has this like country chic vibe, but if you are able to look really close, you know, it's still wallpaper. And I think this is gonna look better as texture than as like a whole pop out kind of thing. Don't mind my neighbor, I'm pretty sure he's just burning some bodies over there. I'm gonna start with just a plain matte white, because I need to do that as a base regardless. If it turns out I don't really like it being so stark, then I've got a clamshell, like creamy white, to try after that. I think the next piece that I'm going to do is this end table, which I have actually done one of these before. I bought this one in a set, but I thought it was something really cool that I would like to try 2 different things with them and sell them separately. So that's what I did. And you know, so the first one I painted this really pretty peacock blue, and it turned out so beautiful, and I was able to sell that for a little chunk of change. But I am leaning for this one between blue and black. So I spray painted the first layer and it's looking pretty good. As you can see here, our bottom is falling out a bit. So we are definitely gonna have to fix that, but we can do that after it's painted. So I'm not gonna be too stressed about that. The reason that I did it this way, by the way, is so that I don't have to turn over my freshly painted. Obviously I would wait till it was dry, but if I had painted this right side up, then I would have had to turn it over because there's so many ledges that are really so much better to get upside down. And not to mention this bottom area here, which does show. So you want to hit all of those spots, and it was a lot easier to just flip it and not have to risk scratching or messing up my fresh paint on top. So once this is dry, we will flip it over.
I just wasn't quite patient enough. Stan gave his final breath for me to do a crappy job painting the top of this table.
So you guys know, even though I forgot to record it, I did end up fixing the bottom floor of this piece, and I made sure that I got a nice even coat on top, as you can see, so it turned out really nicely.
Oh, did you think I was winding down? No, I will not rest until my hands resemble those of a coal miner, or just anyone who does manual labor, I guess. I've got one more piece. Actually, I've got two more pieces. Got a little scuff here, so I'm gonna start by filling that in. And then I'm just gonna let you guys watch. I'm not even gonna tell you what I'm gonna do, because otherwise this video would be too full of talking.
I'm using my hands here because I could not for the life of me find my spatula, so I just used a straight edge that I found in my toolbox. And it worked okay. It got the job done.
Is this like actual leather though? No, it's not. It's woven. All the little crackety bits made me think maybe it was, and I was destroying something that's actually pretty expensive. Nope. Per usual, I'm destroying something that is not expensive. So it all came off. I think we might actually need to utilize that wallpaper. Yikes. The only thing is these up here. I think this is a taste thing. But I just can't imagine both prints, you know, there and here. I think we're gonna have to choose. Maybe chisel this off? I don't know. Beats me. The one thing I do know is this is going to clash stylistically with whatever I choose. I can see certain spots where there's like little nails. So I'm thinking that if I lift them at those points, yeah, that's already coming off pretty dang easy. Wow, yeah, it's definitely not wood at all. Okay, so might not even need the hammer for this, but let's get into it.
It hardly took me 2 swirls in to realize that this was going to be a lot of tedious work for not a great finish, so I decided to try with a handsaw to just remove that whole area and just have an open space, but as you can see, I'm also not very gifted there. And after one more desperate attempt, I just decided to go with a hammer.
Beyond feeling, I know I'm not doing a great job of that.
Yeah.
It was at this exact moment that I decided that this was no longer going to be a cabinet project, but it was going to become an open shelf. So Maverick just completely took off the doors for me, and then I spent the next forever and a half removing all of the nails and dowels left behind. Then I cleaned it out, filled in the holes with wood putty. After that dried, I sanded it, and it was ready for painting. So I used that same satin peacock blue that I was telling you guys about earlier, and it actually set a theory in motion, because as soon as I listed this piece at $50 on Facebook Marketplace, I had like 20 offers instantly, and it made me think that I possibly priced it too low, but also maybe that this color blue was a high seller. So that is indeed something I will be testing with my future listings on Marketplace. What you guys are watching here is actually me working much harder than I am smarter and wasting supplies that I don't need to be. just because I'm trying to do all of these shortcuts to not get overspray instead of just taking the time to tape off and do the newspaper on the back of this piece like I should be. So finally I gave in and I did it the way I was supposed to, and what do you know, it worked perfectly. So there you go. I know I have a habit of cutting corners, so here is just your adult lesson that your mom and dad tried to teach you already. Do it right the first time and you will save yourself a lot of work. Okay, thanks. That's finally freaking done. And since I forgot to take reveal footage, I figured I would just show you guys a quick before and after of the photos. These are the photos that I listed on Marketplace and it sold almost instantly. And our final piece is this antique end table. We've got some damage to the wood stain, but the drawers are functioning really well. There's some Band-Aid. Alright, I tried out these new handles and I think they just look kind of funky. Like, if you're looking straight on, it looks fine, but I think that's a little bit too much. So I'm just gonna see what else I have in store. Or we may stick with these guys. I don't think they're so bad. That kind of aged bronze look might actually be best with the green that we're going with. So trying it over and seeing what we're working with here, it looks like most of these are just in here by a couple of dowels, which is not a huge deal, but it's just not super structurally sound. So I'm gonna work on that. Also, I must admit, I'm not the biggest fan of these things. It's like a little claw foot. And while I think that's probably kind of fun in some aesthetics, it's not really, yeah, I don't know. I don't love it, so we'll see if I can take those off. Claw or no claw? I'm gonna make my decision before I release this video anyway, but I'd still love to know what you guys think. I don't know. That's the answer. I just don't know. I'm gonna paint the drawers. Alright, it's time to decide between the claw and no claw, and I think I'm going claw. I think that's gonna end up looking more finished and really keep the antique character of this piece. So I will first clean the claws, give them a little pedicure, and then I will put them on and tack them in, and then we will be finished. All right, we've got another piece added. This one for $7.99 at Goodwill. And you guys know the drill by this point. It is a simple, clean sand and paint. Except this time I am testing out my blue theory. I'm gonna have to let you guys know how it goes in the description. I also did a quick clean on the handles with some vinegar and soap and water.
So this one has been all the way cleaned, these two have not. Going to go ahead and just lean into all of these little beadings. I could fill them all, but I think it is okay every now and then to just lean into it. Now I will do the drawers, and then I am just going to brush everything off to get the dust off and give it a clear coat of enamel and reattach the hardware, and we'll be done. Alright, there's something important that I want to point out here, and that is these areas where maybe the paint wasn't fully dry, or you know, there's a lot of reasons that this crackling happens, but I want to say that I'm just not worried about it for this piece because we are leaning into the distressed look for it. So to me, I guess I would say that like it's all just kind of part of it. So I will see you guys at the final reveal. Fancy. Everything that I wanted to make over, well, now we know that man is a big boy driving his super cool scooter.